Salete plurimum, and welcome back to Latin League. This is the third episode for this year, and today we are wrapping up round two. I'm Clint Hagan. I'm the commissioner of the Latin League,
And I'm Nikhil Ranjan. I'm a co-director for the Latin League.
and we are really grateful for all of you who participated, and we're so glad you joined us today as we talk about some of the things from the last round. We're going to start with the averages for each test.
Yeah, so in the high school division, the varsity teams performed about 1 point better than last round, so got a 55 on average, and the JV teams got a 44 on average, so 2 points better than last round. So we're seeing like slight improvement, obviously in the large scale of things, not the biggest fluctuation, but hey, ups up.
Yeah, and in middle school rounds, we've got nearly the same average scores as last time, 71 and 57. So within an error for rounding, everybody performed about the same as last time, which we think is great. We're particularly impressed, of course, by that high average in middle school varsity. You know, that's a pretty good average score, uh, and we're really impressed with the learning that's going on here. Speaking of the learning that's going on, here's some questions that people did really, really well on. In the middle school division, 88% of you knew that of the Pantheon, the Circus Maximus, the Colosseum, and the Forum Romanum, the Colosseum was used primarily for gladiatorial games. And 87% of you were able to identify magnify as a word in English that means to make bigger based on its Latin root. Excellent work.
And in the high school division, 91% of y'all were able to identify that the activities being described in the reading comprehension passage that might have been different from your norm were taking place in the winter. And 88% of y'all were able to identify that even though Rome is not a port city, it could use the Tiber River to receive most of its goods. And it's great knowledge that we can recognize those things.
Yeah, and I will take full credit and blame for the high school reading comp passage. I thought it was fun. I hope you enjoyed reading something in Latin that was not about Romans. So now that we've talked about some of our high points, let's talk about some of the tough questions. In middle school, one of the toughest questions, and only 12% of teams got this one right. Number 65. Alexander the Great visited an oracle of this god and often claimed to be his son. Apollo is the one that everybody kind of guessed if they didn't really know, but it was indeed the Egyptian deity Ammon. Similarly, only 14% knew that the bride often decorated the door of the groom's house with wool. And one of the things I learned when reading up on this question was that the Romans liked to use wool because they considered it to be a purer fabric. And the reason they considered it to be a symbol of purity and goodness is that it was a material that you got from an animal, but you didn't have to kill the animal to get it. In other words, if you're using leather, you've had to kill the animal to do it, but a sheep can give you wool and still live on.
That's a really neat fact. I have to say, just learned something myself. And in the high school division, only 9% of y'all got number 48. It was what English adjective derived from skio, used to mean ignorant. The answer was nice. So it used to be a little more of an insult to call someone nice. It's coming from neskio, so it's like someone who doesn't know. Um, and only 16% of y'all got this one. It was number 93. This was in our special topics. It was the Comthi, Parnich, Purth, and Maxtrev were all Etruscan, and they were magistrates. These are all titles for magistrates. The Maxtrev is also probably the close one to Magister. So that's kind of like the connection going on there. The special topics does seem to be our most difficult topic by a mile. We do want to remind y'all we do have resources out there if y'all want to try to study for those. If you feel like they're not great or you feel like it's kind of unclear how to use them, let us know. Maybe we can write something up to explain a little more of how to use those.
At the same time, I really love adding in the special topics. The Mediterranean world is a bigger place than just Greece and Rome. And I like the idea of all of us learning a little bit about some other people groups in that area. Coming up for round three, it will be the Persians. So that brings us to our top 10 teams. Here they are.
So those are the top 10 teams in all the four different divisions. Everyone is doing an amazing job across the board. We want to thank y'all again for participating, and we hope you're having a blast. The next testing session will start on December 4th, and it will close on December 11th. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, again, great job to all of our teams. Thank you so much for joining us. We would love to interview some of your coaches and Latin teachers for this show. So if you have a particularly awesome Latin teacher or coach, and I know a lot of you do, let us know, info@latinleague.org, and maybe we can convince your coach to Zoom with us for a minute and tell us about how they prepare you or what kind of things that y'all are doing. Also, a brief shout out to Magister Kraft. If you don't know Magister Kraft, he's the Minecraft Latin guy. The background that I'm using today is from his video. He's reconstructed the House of the Mosaic Atrium inside of Minecraft, which is really cool. So if you like Minecraft and you like Latin, go check out Magister Kraft. Thanks again for joining us. Make sure to thank your Latin teacher. Valete omnes.
Valete.